I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here in the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos on a beautiful sunny day with Andy Zimmermann, president of Frog. Tell me a little bit about what your work has been in food. I know you've done some interesting things recently.
Yeah, I think food's an interesting space. Agriculture is the oldest industry in the world, and it's one of the least touched by technology. So while we're associated with high-tech things like the Apple computer, actually we're doing a lot of work in the food chain. Some of it goes back to the developing world, and that's particularly relevant to what's going on at WEF, where food is a growing issue. We need about 70% more food production by 2050 than we have now, just with population growth and what's happening as people move into the middle class. And so we have to completely relook at the food chain, starting with production through retailing of it. And in the production side, you've got 500 million people. I mean, that's almost twice the population of the United States who are out there in single-family farms. And they're doing this without any kind of technology enablement. So we're doing a study right now with GSMA and a British government agency where we're looking at, when you put mobile tools in the hands of these single-family farmers, what can they do with it? And one of the interesting things they're doing in Africa right now is using M-Pesa and using minutes to buy insurance. So when they buy seed, they have insurance covering them for a month, where if the weather isn't cooperating and they lose their seed, they're reimbursed through their phone. So this is a type of thing that big corporate firms do with foreign exchange and commodity exchange hedging, but now you have a single-family farmer in Africa being able to do something that's kind of equivalent for them. So that's one end of the food chain and innovation. Another area we're looking at is retailing, and 30% of the food that's produced is wasted at the retail stage, mainly through wastage.
So when it's in the store.
When it's in the store. And we think a lot of it has to do with how the food is presented, how it's actually purchased, the customer experience, which, by the way, isn't all that great anyway.
No, I know.
All right, so what we're looking at is how can you better delight the customer in the buying of the food and also reduce the wastage. And if you think about it, that's the equivalent of electronic cars or something on the other end of the food chain versus the energy change. So I know it's kind of counterintuitive. Gee, agriculture kind of has been around for thousands of years, but actually when you think about it, we just are really at the beginning of technology innovation in agriculture.
Tell me a little bit more about the consumer retail side. So what kind of design innovation could you see there that would actually make a difference?
Yeah, right now a lot of packaging for efficiency's purposes is you get it out of box in the packages with which you present it in the store, particularly in Europe. So you have these plastic sort of cases which are holding particularly produce and that sort of thing. Well, it turns out actually there are better ways to position the consumer actually accessing them and testing them and doing all the things that people kind of cringe when they see people feeling tomatoes and so forth. We think there's actually ways that you can have softer kind of packaging which doesn't impact and cause as much damage to the fruit or the vegetable, even as it's just being transported, say, from a truck into the retail outlet, and also make it a more attractive experience for the consumer. I mean, actually the display experience, for example. So, hopefully it's a win-win situation and not just getting rid of wastage, but actually, the consumer actually enjoying the experience more. So a lot of it's sort of that wraparound packaging and the way in which it's displayed, as you go down these aisles, that actually we think could reduce a lot of the wastage.
So when's it coming to a store near me in the UK?
Well, this is early days. I mean, this is something that, the grocery retail market is a really tough market. They're dealing with brutal margins. And so that's one reason there hasn't been a lot of innovation. Also, you have all kinds of different business models, the large chains, but you also have a lot of mom and pop shops. So literally, this is work we just began this fall. Then, of course, this stuff has to be produced, the actual casing and out-of-box experience. And so I would say we're probably, another maybe 12 months, 8 to maybe 18 months away.
All right. Andy, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.